So welcome to Go Indie Now. I'm doing a special presentation this month because it is coming up on National Novel Writing Month, which is better known to our circles as NaNoWriMo. And I have one of the premier experts on the subject, Miss Christie Stratos, who's done a couple times, and now she just told me that she is going to be doing. Is it just, would it be for booktubers, or was it just YouTube, or?
I don't know. I contacted them and I told them that I had done it for 2 years in a row and that I was really consistent with my posting, and they said, yeah, I would love to partner with you. So now I'm one of the official 2016 NaNoWriMo YouTube guides. So it's really exciting because I like making those videos anyway. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, I've said consistently throughout knowing Christie and her vlog that she has one of the best vlogs out there. And this is one of the reasons why I gravitated toward this blog, is because of NaNoWriMo and what she did for that, because you started your vlog because of NaNoWriMo, right?
That's right. Yeah, I started doing it every single day in November. So November 1st will be my anniversary on YouTube. Easy to keep track of. And I did it. Yeah, I did it every single day that first year, 2014, and then last year I did it every week. So this time I'll be posting once a week to their YouTube platform, and then I've asked them whether or not I can also post to my own. So I may be doing additional videos, but so far it's definitely 4 throughout the month.
Awesome. So you are officially part of the NaNoWriMo family then.
Yeah, it's really exciting. You know, I always look at them and all that they do and their website and everything, and I really respect all of that. So it's exciting to be more of an intimate part of it now.
That's crazy how fast it grew like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I went to the first Nano Prep session on Twitter, and I was shocked at the number of tweets coming in, live. So it was amazing, and it was a great way to start. It was just earlier this week, I think. And so I was, already just starting to, get out there and talk to other people and see what they think about NaNoWriMo and where they're going with their book and, stuff like that. And I mean, already in October, it's swarmed with people, which is amazing.
It is an art form. It's a discipline. I mean, that's what this is really teaching you is the art of being a writer on a daily basis, correct?
That's right. Yeah, it can be so hard to find the time to write every day. And so this is such a good opportunity. And I saw some people at Nano Prep that were saying, this is the only time of year that I write because I can dedicate myself with this community that comes together and supports each other. So that's really great. And for those of us who write all the time, even so, to buckle down and just say, that's it, I'm writing a novel this month, it's just an exciting time to dedicate that much time. It has taught me so many lessons, and about myself and about trying to write every day too.
Now I know that you go into this with a plan. Is that the best approach, to go into it with okay, I have a skeleton of something I've always wanted to write and write it? Or do you think just writing to start writing is a good enough reason to do this as well? Or do you think you need a plan for something like this?
I think it can go either way. I think it's best to go in at least knowing the basic idea you'd like to flesh out. If you really have no clue going in, then I feel like the first day could be really stressful for you. But if you at least have an idea, I'm a pantser. I do not plan. I don't do any outlines at all. So, I'm really taking my life in my hands when I do this, But it's really exciting. It really does depend on what you want to do. But I would definitely recommend having some idea of what kind of approach you want to take, at least a genre and a basic, maybe some characters, just general things, even if you don't have a heavy outline. So that's typically what I'm going in with.
And the goal is 50,000 words.
Yeah, the goal is 50,000.
November 30th, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So having experienced this before, so that's roughly about 1,667 words a day.
That's right.
How do you approach that? Do you specifically set out a time, I'm going to write, and then once you hit a certain word count, do you stop, or are you going until it just comes all out? Or how do you approach the essence of what this challenge is?
For me, I do try to cut out time. It's tough. I think most people are either in school or full-time working. And so it is important to sort of carve out that time in your schedule, but it doesn't always work out, and that's okay. You have to sort of accept that before you start, so you're not so disappointed that you have a hard time dealing with it. So I think that's really important. But yeah, I do try to set aside time, especially on weekends. I've heard people say, and I think this is really good, to judge your word count more by the week than by the day, because you can get, I remember being really disappointed when I first started and saying, oh my gosh, it's the end of week 1 and I've written 1,000 words, But this is the stuff that happens when you've got other big commitments going on. You can't help that. So that's okay. But yeah, exactly. What I definitely do is I write until I'm done. So whether I've reached the word count or not, sometimes that means I'm going to write 500 words. Sometimes that means I'm going to write 2,000. But the good part is you're really getting it all out. And one of the other good things is they have like nano sprints and stuff where you just try to write as much as possible. And I feel like that is extremely helpful because it really pushes you to just write whatever. And the whole idea is don't edit. Don't think too much about it. Just write what's coming out, write what makes sense in the moment, and just get it done. Even if you need to go in a different direction after you write that scene, that's okay. You've gotten it down and you've got some ideas out there. So yeah, for me, I definitely just go until it's all out.
Really about the marathon and not the sprint, correct?
It is, absolutely. Yeah, just because you miss a couple of days, that doesn't mean that you have to actually, the other thing to remember is you don't have to take that 1,667 words and add it on top of the next day. You may want to just sort of spread that out because it just gets really intimidating. All of a sudden you're saying, I'm 10,000 words behind. It's impossible. You don't want to do that. But the other thing that's also really important is I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I didn't make the word count for NaNoWriMo. I failed. And that's absolutely not true. You can't really fail. You can just not make the word count, but I would never put the word fail to it because you're that much farther ahead, whether it's 1,000 words or 20,000 or however many. So it's really important because, I will say, in 2014, I started Anatomy of a Darkened Heart with NaNoWriMo, and I published it the next year. I didn't finish it in November, but I did publish it, within a year. Same thing with Locke and Keye. I'm going to be publishing that this November. I started it last November. Did I finish it? No, but what happened was with Locke and Keye was I started really powering through it and I was really making my goals. But what happened was I realized this was not the story I wanted to write. It wasn't coming out right. And I realized that much faster instead of working on it, for 5 months and then saying, oh no, I wasted all this time. No, I flew right through it and said, oh, I got to change directions. So that was so useful. There are just so many ways to use NaNoWriMo to your advantage.
And it's a lot like anything else that you start, that you begin with. It's hard the first few days to get into it, right? And then as you go and you forgive yourself and you're a lot less harsh on yourself, you start to realize you're developing the skill and the discipline, right? And then toward the end, out a lot more easily and you start to really get into it, right?
Yeah. For me, I usually start out on the first couple of days really excited and maybe I make my word counts or I get really close. But, I made one video in 2014 that was like the mid-month novel slump, and it just starts to really slog along sometimes. It can get pretty difficult, but sometimes towards the end you're getting more into it. Sometimes you feel like disappointed in yourself just because you didn't make the word count. But at the same time, if you really just push and push, that's really what it's a matter of. It's not a matter of perfection or excellence or anything. It's really just a matter of getting those words out of your brain and onto the computer or wherever you're writing it.
Is it always the end goal to publish what you write, or do you think that it's okay to have an exercise where you're writing something that maybe you won't ever publish, but that may lead to something else?
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity to do that too, because then you sort of get it out of the way a little bit, in that 1 month. So that can be a great way to use NaNoWriMo. You can really use it any way you want, but, there are some ideas that I have that I would love to just sort of push out of my head and just get them out of the way. So this would be a good time for that. And then there are some people who really genuinely want to write a book and they really feel, okay, well, this is it. This is the only time I'm going to have to do it. And especially because of the support, the great community. So really you can use it either way and it can be so valuable. And sometimes you really want to publish this book, but once you write it, you're like, nah, this is no good. it can go either way, but it's all about just doing it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the community a little bit. What's out there for people, resource-wise, to latch onto if they are struggling, or even if they're not and they want some encouragement and they want somebody to give feedback? What does the community do for them, and how do they find it?
The community is really great. It's actually, so many people say that they do NaNoWriMo for the community itself, not even necessarily just for the writing. And you can really meet a lot of people that way. Like during Nano Prep, for example, they have different like Twitter events. If you use the hashtag NaNoWriMo, or sometimes it's NaNoWriMo like the year 2016, then people will start responding to you, because it's more than just the hashtag I'm writing. This is like a group effort almost in a way. So you can use that, and you can end up meeting a lot of people and continually talking to them and supporting each other. That's really great. You can go onto the site, and there are a couple of things you can do there. There's just regular chats, and they have them broken down in a lot of great ways by genre or by problem, and there's just, you can really search it in any way you need to. And people want to answer your questions, and people want their questions answered. So it's a really friendly place. It's like no place to be nervous about or afraid of. It's really nice that way. And then another thing, they do have like pep talks that they send out, maybe like once a week or twice, something like that. They have expert advice, and it comes right into your Nano account. So it's there waiting for you. You know, you can't get more support than that. It's really nice, and you can add writing buddies, talk to them. You know, there's a lot of vlogging going on. Find people on YouTube. It's just like such a huge community. And then there's also the in-person meetups, the write-ins and stuff. So you can find your community, and there is like a drop down that says something like, you know, find your region, or you know, something like that. And you do that, and there are people running a region near you, and they'll have all these things set up, you know, at a nearby cafe or library, something like that. And just to throw in there also, they have this cool thing on the site that's, they sell this little sticker that's something about, you're supposed to, it's like a window cling type of thing. You can put it in the window, like at a cafe, and it basically says something about, you know, writing partners, or, you know, come write with me type of thing. And people can just like sit down with you. It's a really great community.
What has it done for you?
It has done a lot. Like I said, I started writing Anatomy of a Darkened Heart with NaNoWriMo, and I feel that that really pushed me, gave me that big push, because I feel like I would have started writing it and I wouldn't have been sure of it, but it gave me a great push. And my very first vlog about NaNoWriMo ever was about anxiety and procrastination, because I was so nervous starting this book. It was going to be my first professional book, and I was like scared of the blank page. I was scared of everything, even though I've been writing since I was really, really young. It just really intimidated me. But having that sort of that word, you know, you're trying to reach the word count, and then having that community saying, hey, I feel the same way, I'm scared, or like, I don't know what to do or something, it really made me feel much better. And pushing myself to just write whatever made a big difference to me. Now I don't have that problem at all, but it took NaNoWriMo to push me to realize that I had that problem to begin with. I thought it was just procrastination and stuff, but it turned out I was a little bit afraid of the blank page. So I'm going to be making a video on that too, to help other people, since I had that problem. But I would say that was the biggest thing I got out of it. Like, you know, just break all the molds, go way outside of what you're used to, you know, go write in a public space. If you don't like that, it's better to do it so that you can just get really comfortable with everything. And like, just write however you want to in your notebook. You don't have to write in the lines and all that. These are things that I always admired in other people, but I never tried until NaNoWriMo.
Your goal for this NaNoWriMo, then, you have a novel coming out very soon. That you started last NaNoWriMo. Are you continuing with your series, or are you going to try something different this time around?
I'm actually doing something different. This one is a true challenge for me, because what I'm going to be working on is something for the Happy Endings Resort series, which is a series of books that are supposed to take place in this, you know, Happy Endings Resort. Is sort of like a mix of trailer park cabin type of thing. And so I was asked if I wanted to contribute to that, and I was very excited to try, you know, doing that is something very different for me. And I can pretty much do anything I want to. So it's a nice break. I'm really enjoying the Dark Victoriana collection and historical fiction and all that. But it's kind of a nice break to really just come out of all that research and just kind of do whatever I want. So that's what I'm using this opportunity for. And it's going to actually be a novella. So, I mean, for me, I don't care how long the piece is that I'm trying to write. I know the goal is supposed to be 50,000 words. Mine is going to be between 20 and 30,000, I think. But for me, that's a big challenge to write all at once anyway. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and I'm really excited about it. You know, I have some general ideas, but as I said, I'm a pantser, so we'll see what happens. I get like so excited. Like, now it's happening a month before NaNoWriMo.
So what's the best way, if somebody wanted to friend you or be a part of your group, what's the best way to find you and get involved with your NaNoWriMo experience?
You can go on the NaNoWriMo site if you're a part of that. You can look up my name. I haven't seen anybody with the same name, so you should be able to find it. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be participating in the hashtag all the time. Like I said, I'm going to be on the NaNoWriMo YouTube channel itself. So if you can't find my YouTube channel, you can find that, and my videos will be there every week, once a week. And on my personal YouTube channel, I'll also hopefully be doing stuff there, but like I said, I'm waiting to hear from them, just make sure that I can post in both places. And I think I'm also going to be doing some like mini videos, probably on Facebook with some advice. So, you know, you can look me up there, Christie Stratos Author, it's under.
What do you think is a good first-timer's goal?
I would say the goal should be to try to just write as much as possible, really. Get used to just putting things down on the sheet and stop self-editing, because that's one of the biggest problems. I just talked to somebody on, during the Nano Prep session about this who said, oh, but I self-edit all the time. And I said, don't do that, just force yourself, But it really is a matter of just forcing yourself. And that's the great thing. Once you start doing this and you see other people doing it, you're seeing them reach their goals, you get excited, and you say, I want to reach that goal too. And so that's a really big part of it, being able to just set everything aside and being able to say, no, I'm not going to, get distracted. I have other people that are doing this as well. That's a big problem with writing, getting distracted and stuff. And really when it comes to things like writer's block, like you don't have time for that, so this is your time to prove to yourself sort of how you can work through that. And everybody has different ways of doing it, but this is a really great path to like self-discovery about your writing. So I would say this is the most valuable thing. And if you are just starting, just push. Just keep going, and don't be too disappointed in yourself at all. Just give yourself credit for participating. Just remembering that there's really no reason to get anxious over it. There's no failure. There's really nothing you can do wrong here. Even writing the novel and saying, I really don't want it to come out this way, and then rewriting it, you accomplished that. It's a huge deal.
Absolutely. I'm gonna second that notion and say to everybody out there that, listen, you're doing something. You're doing something, and it's important that you do something. And in doing something, you've accomplished something. There's no failure involved in it. That's not the definition of failure. Not reaching 50,000 words is not the definition of failure. Not participating when you wanted to participate, that's failure. So participate. If you really want to do this, do it. Just give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Hey, if you stare at your screen for 15 days and you decide, you know what, I can't do it, at least you gave it an effort. You looked at it and you tried, and you stared at your screen for 15 days. That to me is as triumphant as anything, because maybe it sparks something, right? Maybe you find that something, or maybe what you set out to write isn't exactly what you're meant to write, and something else blossoms from it. Something that you wrote down may become an idea for later. I mean, all of this leads to roads of success.
Exactly right. I couldn't have put it better myself. That's exactly the whole point. Yep.
While I have you here, I might as well talk about Locke and Keye and what's going to happen for you in the near future. So tell everybody what you're doing.
Sure. Locke and Keye is the second book in the Dark Victoriana collection. And, I've said this before, but for anybody who doesn't know, it's not a series, it's a collection, meaning that it doesn't take off from where Anatomy of a Darkened Heart ended. It takes place during Anatomy of a Darkened Heart, and we have 1 or 2 scenes that cross over with Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. We definitely have some characters that you will recognize, but if you wanted to read it as a standalone book, I did write it so that you can do that, but you will definitely find some extra enjoyment if you've read the first one. So that one Locke and Keye revolves around the locksmith shop in town, and Mr. Locke is the man who owns it, and so he's named it Locke and Keye. Key ends with an E, and it's all about him and his the choices he has made in these locksmiths and why, and how he has control. He pretty much takes control over, yes, the shop, but also the town in a way. So, it is a psychological thing. It's historical fiction. It takes place in the Victorian era. I'm still working out the details of the dates, but it's around the 1850s. So that's going to be the second book. It had originally been planned as a novelette. It's a novel. It ended up over 50,000 words. So that's going to be coming out in November. I haven't picked a date yet, but definitely November. And right during NaNoWriMo, so that'll be fun. But I'm really excited to get it out. I actually just got the cover finalized, and I'm really pumped about it.
Very cool. Awesome. And, for just to let everybody know, that's what it started all on NaNoWriMo 2015. That's how it all began. And actually, your entire series began through NaNoWriMo in 2014 with Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. So, and everybody should look out for Christie's videos on YouTube through NaNoWriMo, and possibly doing some more with her own vlog, which everybody should subscribe to anyway, even if she doesn't get the opportunity to do stuff for NaNoWriMo. I'm sure she's going to have some great stuff, especially with her novel coming out. So everybody needs to go check that out.
Yeah, great. And before you hang up, I just want to share my GoIndieNow shirt that I absolutely love. I bought this sweater and it is super, super comfy. And I have a t-shirt too. I love them. So, keep putting them out there and I'll keep buying them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christie.
Thanks, Joe.